This is Future Phenoms, tracking football's rising stars. I'm Andy, and I'll be your host. I'm joined by Nino Brown and SC Romero. We have a jam-packed episode that will break down after the intro. SC, Nino, what's going on, guys?
It's good, man. I love that intro, dude. It's your head's bobbing, you're watching the tape, you're like, boy, it's probably some hot news in here.
I had to get that futuristic hip hop vibe. You know what I mean? Get that vibe going, get us rocking, get the blood flowing. Let's get it.
So I think we've all done shows with each other, but this will be the first time that all three of us are doing a show together. So this should be an absolute blast. All right, so let's get right into the show. Our first segment, names to watch for the 2024 college football season. Now, for this one, I'm going to go first off with SC. Who's your first guy you're going to be naming off?
Yeah, man. It was one of my quarterbacks last year, and he's on a new team. That's going to be Aiden Childs, a former Oregon State quarterback, now at Michigan State. Reason being because he went with the head coach that recruited him, and Jonathan Smith, right? Jonathan Smith, phenomenal year at Oregon State. Oregon State, I believe, Andy, you were on record saying they're arguably the top defense in the Pac-12 last year with Utah, right? And Jonathan Smith did a great thing. He recruited Aiden Childs, and then he left. He got an opportunity at Michigan State, and he said, you know what, Aiden, come with me. Aiden's going in there day one as a starter. There could be some opportunity for us, competition. You always love friendly competition, but this guy's a dual threat quarterback. He knows what he needs to do. He has precision. I loved his high school tape. We didn't see as much as we wanted to last season to see what he can do in college. So I'm really stoked to see what he can do this season. And maybe people are sleeping on him because he didn't go in there and take that spot from DJU, right? So maybe they're sleeping on him. That's my guy this year, Aiden Childs.
Listen, when it comes to Aiden Childs, I've been a fan. Any freshman that comes in with a veteran that's proven, that's getting schemed up plays, like they had at least 2 or 3 packages per game that they gave to him. He had a couple hundred yards on the ground. He was like 230 on the ground. Yeah, touchdown pass and some rushing touchdowns. Like they were working him in there for a reason because the kid's got juice. He's got it. It was instant. When I saw Jonathan Smith was going there, I'm like, okay, this dude's hitting the portal. He's out. He tried to play it down, I haven't made my decision. Now, who knows? He's gone. But the dogs up front went too, so he's got that protection. Yeah. They understand his cadence already. They understand how he operates. I'm with it 100%. SC. I think Childs is going to be a new guy in that conference. Is going to take over, and people are going to be like, where'd he come from?
I will say I was wishing that Damian Martinez went with them, but he stayed at Oregon State. So it's all right, though. Aiden Childs is still going to eat.
Yeah, I do think with Aiden Childs, it is a very good thing that he is going to Michigan State. He will be the starter day one. This will be a fun team to watch and fun to see what Aiden Childs does this coming season. Nina, who's your first guy that you want to talk about?
I'll stay in the QB department. I'm going to go with a guy that was at Indiana last year. I mean, not trying to knock nobody, but Indiana don't really get, he ain't getting these big dogs. He's not getting all the talent in the world. And he did okay. It's Brendan Sorsby. He transferred. He hit the portal. He went to Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati kind of resurrected Emory Jones last year. It was his second best season he had. You know what I mean? He was close to 60-something% completion. He was able to resurrect the legs. What they did over there, I'm not a big fan of Satterfield, but what they did over there in Cincinnati early was nice. And this kid, listen, this kid's got it. 6'3", 230. He started 6 games to Indiana, right? It was close to 57%, 1,600 yards. He had 15 touchdowns and only 5 picks. I like that a lot. And he's a threat on the ground, like almost 450 rush yards, 4 touchdowns. He had 77 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns versus Illinois, and 85 on the ground versus Michigan State. Those are good Big Ten defenses, and he was able to be elusive and keep the play going. 10 big-time throws versus 8 turnover-worthy plays. That he's going to have to work on, I think, at a new environment. Maybe, this coaching staff can get the best out of him, but he's got to protect the ball. He did have 8 fumbles last year, and for a mobile guy, we're going to have to, nip that in the bud. So I'm excited to see what he can do there because, like I said, Emory Jones had success, and he was kind of like written off, like this guy's done smoked. He's checked out. And he was really exciting, especially in fantasy. Emory Jones at the beginning of the year was a guy that you could get that just plugged in every week for you if you needed a guy and got it done. So that's my quarterback that I like in this one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I love that. I think what he just said on Emory Jones, you think about the year before with Desmond Ridder, right? They know how to get their quarterbacks in and move in. So I think that's a great opportunity for him. And I don't know what it's going to be as a pro level, but for your CFF leagues, C2C, he's definitely someone you might want to target because he's definitely on your waivers right now that can put up some points for you. I do believe Corey Keener is also going back to running back.
Kind of, I like him.
Someone else that can definitely take the pressure off of him, so he's not I gotta be the mobile quarterback. Maybe someone that can ease that off, and he can definitely get some more playing time there. So I think that's a great quarterback to target because you can get him on the low. So I mean, why not?
Gino Gudalugi, the OC, he has slept on last couple of years over at Cincinnati. What he's put up there for that scheme and how he's got the best out of all of his positions, even the wide receiver department, kind of not really big names, but they've all been last 3 years they've gone to the NFL, so he's been able to get the best out of all of his guys. So I think Gudalugi is slept on in the OC department.
And then with Cincinnati, they also brought in running back Evan Pryor to get some support in that backfield. So that should be an interesting player to watch. Now, SC, who's the next guy you want to talk about?
So we're talking about running backs, so let's talk about another running back. This one's I'm gonna get it before the iron gets hot, and that's Frankie Arthur, UCF running back, freshman coming out. Shout out Conroe, Texas. I used to work in Conroe, Texas, so always good to see some high school players, come out and do something. 19 offers before, and he chose UCF. KJ Jefferson, the quarterback, is now there. They still do have RJ Harvey, who RJ Harvey's another target, but I want to go a little bit further. You have Arthur, who's a vertical runner. He knows how to bounce off his guys. He doesn't really have like crazy speed, but if he does get on that sideline, he's zipping down, So I just love his movement, love his lateral movement up and down. I think he's going to be a great back. It may take a year because RJ Harvey's doing his thing, but again, I think you strike before the iron gets hot and go ahead and acquire him and let him sit in your minor slots.
Hey, listen, 5'10", 190. He runs what is it? It's sub 1100. Like, this dude got juice. He's going to be the perfect. Like I said to you guys before, I think he's the perfect complement to Harvey, a thunder and lightning. Harvey goes in and bangs, ties him down, come late in the third quarter, fourth quarter. You're getting off to some reps late in games and building his confidence, and he's just going to be a dasher and take off. So I love it.
And then for those that haven't had a chance to watch Arthur play, when I watched some film breakdown, this is what my thoughts were on him. He has good contact balance, a very patient runner, allows his blocks to form, good lateral agility, a capable receiver, and he's more quick than fast overall. So he is someone that will be exciting to watch for UCF as a true freshman. Now, Nino, who's the next guy you want to talk about?
Well, I'll stay in the running backs. I'll keep following SC's lane here. I'm going to go with a guy out of Arizona State. People probably aren't aware of him. We've seen success lately in these D2 guys coming over. It was, Mario Anderson and Schrader out of Mizzou. Both did well. I think Anderson had over 800 yards. Obviously, Schrader was a top 5 back in the country with 1,500 yards rushing. And he did well at the Senior Bowl. But I got a guy, like I said, Arizona State, 5'10", 222 pounds. I love it. It's a bowling ball. Just run you over. Cameron Scatterboo, okay? Transferred over in 2022 to Arizona State from Sacramento State. His final year at Sacramento State had close to 200 carries for 1,372 yards and 7 touchdowns. All right, now we're coming over to the big leagues, right? In 2023 for Arizona State, 164 carries, close to 800 yards, 8 touchdowns. And he had close to 5 yards per carry, 4.8 to be exact. Now, they brought in Raleek Brown from USC as a potential, maybe to push him or just added some added depth. I'm not really nervous at all. This guy couldn't sniff the field behind Lloyd and Jones, USC. They had to convert him to wide receiver, and he had trouble even, getting reps at wide receiver. So I don't know if Brown's going to be fully running back or they might have him split, be like a hybrid guy. But listen, Scadabo can catch the ball as well. So Brown's going to have to, work to take the spot. 24 receptions, 286 yards. He had a touchdown. The man's got over 11 yards per reception, right? And now this is the key factor. You're bringing in, I believe, a mobile QB that's going to take this role, Jaden Rashada, right, who's got a little experience. Drew Pine can't stay healthy. It's just I believe Rashada will take over the QB1, and now you got, like I said, you got a guy that's mobile, so either a linebacker or a safety has to stay true. So you're going to get these open lanes for Scadabo. You get a guy who can, bowling ball through it and take off and can receive. I think Scadabo is going to climb these charts. His value for me, is climbing. You can get him cheap, but I think after like the first 3 weeks, people are going to be like, whoa, all right, this is a guy that, can put up 20 per week. What are your thoughts on Scadabo, guys?
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I mean, you look at his time at Sacramento State, is that where he was at?
Yeah.
His first year there, under 600 yards, 520 yards, but then his second year there, he exploded over 1,300 yards. First year going up to D1 at Arizona State, under 800 yards, 700 rushing yards, and he knows the offense now, right? And now you have him and Rashada, who will get a full off season. Let's get these reps in, get everything going in there for y'all. This is a great opportunity, and you want someone that is like you said, that bowling ball, someone that could just go up the middle, but with full contact. Like, it's not going to be like loose or agile. It's like he's just going in there and just running boys over. I think that's a great compliment and someone you want when you have that mobile QB in Rashada, because now you have the option of, hey, if Rashada's reading the defense right, you see the Mike linebacker coming down to close that gap, hey, I'm gonna will it outside and get that option open, right? So I think this is gonna be great, and I think this is someone that we're gonna see possibly get over. I'm gonna say over 900 yards this year, rushing at least.
Yeah. Hey, he's going to get those. I think he's going to be the 3 down, right? Because he can pass pro at that size. Malik Brown ain't got that size. I think Malik Brown will get run over by a middle linebacker. So I think Scadabo is going to have a chance to, just alone on his size and stamina, to stay in there for 3 downs. So I think he gets more reps than the other guy.
Well, he can catch too.
Yeah.
So,
And then for those that haven't had a chance to watch Arizona State play, last year when Jalen Rashada was the quarterback, a lot of the 3rd-and-1s and 4th-and-1s, they actually used Cam Scadabo as the Wildcat quarterback to run it up the middle to get the first down. And he is the definition of a bowling ball. Now, SC, who is the next guy you want to talk about?
One of my guys again, Jamal Banks. He's transferring, man. I y'all both know I'm all in on Nebraska. They got Rayola, they got Dowdle from Oregon. I'm all in on Nebraska, and Jamal Banks is gonna be a part of that offense. 6'4" phenom. I comped him to AT Perry, who he took over once he left Wake Forest. Just a guy that has better speed than AT Perry, I think, and he also has a great catch radius. He's a nightmare matchup. He knows how to catch at the high point for you. He's just someone that I think is going to be the quarterback's best friend, and man, Nebraska's my sleeper. I'm all in on Nebraska's offense this year. I'm gonna get what I can out of that cup of tea, if you will, because I think they're just gonna explode and people aren't gonna be ready for it.
Listen, wide receivers in Phil Longo's offense are usually nasty. We've seen it with AJ Brown. We've seen it with Elijah. I can't think of his name right now. The gentleman out of Cleveland played it. Is it Mitchell? Elijah Moore. Yes, Elijah Moore. Yeah, but both of them guys, and Downs, Josh Downs, when he was at UNC, they've all just boom, boom. The numbers, the system, the scheme works for that. I thought Dykey would have a better season. He had his best year there, but now we're in year 2 of Matt Rule and his system, and usually in the second season of Matt Rule, we see a huge jump in success and a huge jump in the comfortability of the offense. So I'm with it because I like Banks. I told you guys before, I like Banks over Donovan Green. Once Perry went to the NFL, and it was apparent he took over last year. Donovan Green can't stay healthy, but Banks is that guy.
Yeah, and with Banks, he goes to an upgrade offense. Last year at Wake Forest, there was a lot of issues with the quarterback, a lot of issues with the system. Wake Forest plays that slow mesh type of a system where pretty much the wide receivers are asked to run 2 routes, and that's it. And he still had a career year. So this year, going to a more high-powered offense, we should see a better season from Jamal Banks. Now, Nino, you have one more guy left, right?
Yeah, I got one last guy here. I'm gonna go South Alabama wide receiver Jamal Pritchett, right? Kalen Lacey, who was the target hound, whore, whatever you want to call it, the main guy, he's gone. He hit the portal, right? Pritchett's 5'8", 164 pounds. He's a small wide receiver, but man, he got that juice. He's like an electric shock. 83 targets, 57 receptions, 883 yards, 15.5 yards per catch, and he had 8 touchdowns, right? 397 yards after the catch. He averaged 7.1 yards after contact per reception. The dude fights through it. He's got speed, twitch, instant separation. He can stop on a dime. He lines up outside, but he can work the middle. And listen, I know Carter Bradley's gone, right? And we don't really know who's going to be the guy, but they got a freshman in Gio Lopez at the quarterback who in his one, game to shine, it was the bowl game against Eastern Michigan. He had 5 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 4 passing. Like, this kid got a little bit of a spark to him. Now he's going to have a full offseason to get in there. I think Pritchett is going to be a name that people are going to want to get right after that spring hits. They're going to be like, okay, this is going to be the wide receiver 1 over there, and he's going to do big things. You're going to get 1,000 yards out of Pritchett this year, guaranteed.
1,000 yards. I like that. The thing with the wide receivers, man, you hit it on the money. Where a lot of people are talking about that twitch, right? That guy that just does that move really quickly that you blink and you miss him, right? And if you look at the way the NFL is transitioning, I feel we're kind of getting away from those 6'4", 6'3" giants. Granted, this class is filled with those guys, tons of monsters like that. But you get a lot of these slot guys coming in that are 5'8". You look at Tank Dell, you look at Josh Downs, you look at all these receivers coming in, and Pritchett may be one of those guys. Lito, you're one that started, saying that don't scout the helmet, scout the player. People are gonna look at South Alabama. I don't want that. Pritchett's still a good wide receiver, and yeah, competition matters. But when he's doing yards after the catch, when he's fighting for the yards, that makes a huge difference. The way he moves, regardless of the competition, that transitions over, and that's something you want to watch out for. I love it. I'm in on him. He's someone, again, because of a lower team based on the helmet, you can get him on the low. So definitely someone to keep an eye on.
Major Applewhite, baby. Major Applewhite is now the head coach, because Womack's moved on to from South Alabama to Alabama. Listen, Applewhite knows ball. Applewhite was a quarterback, and he knows how to air it out. I expect big things out of that offense.
And those are some names to know and write down for your CFF and C2C leagues. Now, we have our next segment. This next segment is going to be the 5 statements segment. Now, with this, each week I'll toss up a topic, and SC and Nino will give their thoughts. You guys ready for this?
Let's get it.
All right. Statement number 1. With Chip Kelly as offensive coordinator at Ohio State and his tendencies to be more run happy, this is a stock down for all the Ohio State wide receivers, and we should be selling them now. SC, you're up first.
Yeah, man. I'm not gonna say it's still wide receiver right? They still know how to get the guys. So I wouldn't say but I am selling the Emeka Egbuka. I just think he should. I know why he didn't go out this year, but he should have, because he was a Friends top 7 wide receiver. Where I don't know if in a new offensive system, if he's still that. He still probably is the best wide receiver on this team, simply because he has the experience. However, you have Carnell Tate, you have Brandon Innes, you have Jeremiah Smith coming in, you have these wide receivers coming in where I think they hold more value, because now people know what Egbuka is. There's no way, to me right now, there's no way Egbuka is hitting the top 3. I think that's Evan Stewart, Neighbors, Burden, and then McMillan, right, from Arizona. Mm-hmm. So those are your top 3. This year, there could have been an argument that he was top 3. Odunze, Franklin Thomas, those are arguably your guys. There could have been that argument that he got in there just because he was at Ohio State. But I think this is a good sell for him. And because people will scout the helmets, you sell any kind of Ohio State wide receiver, they're like, oh, give me that. But this could be a down year for him, and he can end up a day 2 pick rather than a day 1.
My man flipped the scout in the helmet right on me, like just turned around and played it to his advantage. I like good, touche, sir. But this is how you know that we aren't scripted, because this is where I'm on the opposite side of the fence with you with Egbuka. I think Egbuka is the hold for me. Like I said, I believe he's going to get peppered because Chip Kelly comes in with a loaded backfield. He loves to run the ball, right? And you got 2 monsters in that backfield, so I think that's going to be the route they go. And I think they're going to pepper this short and intermediate game where I think Egbuka is going to excel, because last year at UCLA, everybody liked Sturvin. We all believed Michael Sturvin was going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. He was going to be that guy. And Logan Lawyer, the shifty guy that was the slot guy that can work the middle, was the number one receiver on that team. I have a funny feeling that Emeka Egbuka is going to play that role. He's not going to be the outside guy. He's not the bigger guy. So you're going to have one of these guys, whether it be Tate, Innis, Smith, whoever it's going to be, one of those guys will be on the outside, right? And he's going to be in the slot, and I think he's going to dominate. Stove is gone, right? So now they have a new tight end to fill in. He's going to have to get comfortable, get acclimated. He's probably going to stay in line most of the time to block. So you're going to need a guy in the slot. Egbuka can do that. If he's fully healthy, there's a good chance, I don't know he can get in that 3, but he's going to be at that 4 spot knocking on that door. So I think Egbuka is going to have a great season. I don't like to sell any guys from Ohio State, but I would sell Innis because I think out of Tate or Innis, I'm more on the Tate side. And I think the value and the hype on both of those guys, I don't think you're going to get that out of Innis this year. The following year, when Chip Kelly hits the NFL, Jeremiah Smith value will go through the roof. So I would hold Smith.
All right, statement number 2. JJ McCarthy will be a top 15 pick. Nino, you're up.
It's hard for me. I like McCarthy. I've been saying that he's a project guy. I know that you're a Michigan guy, Andy, so I gotta walk on eggshells here. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but I've said on multiple times, he improved greatly in the short and intermediate game. Middle of the field, he was an assassin this year. But the scheme wasn't there to showcase him at Michigan, right? They're more of a run-heavy program. I don't care that Harbaugh said he's the best quarterback in the class. That doesn't mean anything to me. He's just pumping up the smoke into his guy. It all depends on landing spot and what's available. Arizona, with Atlanta at 8, I just have a funny feeling they go and make a trade for the veteran guy like Kyler Murray, right? Something like that, or Justin Fields. So, I don't know that they take a guy there, especially being a project guy, right? With new head coach, it's rough. With Vikings, I just have a gut feeling they're going to stay with Kirk Cousins, even though he wants 2 at 42, guaranteed per, because that would bring back JJ. That would be able to keep him. He's comfortable. He knows what he's getting. He's always in a groove with them. He's not going through a growing pains for a year or 2 with the project and JJ. And if they're going to take JJ and sit, I just can't see them taking JJ in the first round to sit him a full season, especially the way things are now. The Broncos seem like a spot, but from everything I hear, it's Michael Pratt for them. That's what they really like him. The Raiders or the Saints are where we could get it, and that 50-year option works. The Raiders, I think, go Russell Wilson. The Saints, I'm hearing an extending Carr. But at that spot, in the 13, in the teen spot, if you have all your eggs lined up right, I think you could take JJ there and let him sit a year and grow. Just in that top 10 spot, it's hard to. I know it's only a couple spots, but everything changes. The money changes. Things are different. I think at that bottom half, the Raiders or New Orleans could make him a first-round pick. Yes.
No, I'm just gonna say flat out no. I as much as I think he is an undervalued quarterback in this draft for sure, because I think he's someone that people didn't give a lot of. Even though he won a national championship, I still think there's just that taste in people's mouth. We're like, oh, it's McCarthy. He's not Caleb Williams and whatever. He's not 101, sure. But you look at the Falcons. A while back, the rumor was the Falcons offered the 108 for Fields, and that didn't happen. The Bears are dumb. They should have smashed that, right? Because then they would have got Caleb and someone else. Mm-hmm. They could go for Kyler. That makes sense. I think they could go for a veteran because they have Desmond Ridder. It's not working out. I would love them for keep Desmond Ridder for a season, see if it works, because Arthur Smith has ruined that whole offense. Now we get someone else in there. And then the Vikings at 11, exactly what Nino said. With Kirk Cousins there, you have him extend that contract, make sure Jefferson is happy, and then go get a quarterback in the second round. Someone cheaper, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, someone that can learn behind Cousins and possibly do something good. I would love to see Bo Nix there because I think that's his ceiling to me is Kirk Cousins. Okay, so I think that's a good comparison there. The Broncos at 12, that one's a maybe, but I also think that I don't know if they're full rebuild yet. I feel like they could get McCarthy later if they wanted to. So if that's the case, if they're looking for a quarterback, I feel they're going to try to trade. And depending if they trade Rush, they're not going to trade him for cheap. So what are you going to get there? And plus you have Shadur Sanders, who guess what? He plays at Colorado. So the Broncos are bad next year. Well, guess what? Possible 101. Shadir Sanders, just keep him in Colorado because you see what the prime time is doing at Boulder, right? So keep him there. You have the Raiders at 13. I'm gonna stand on this. I think the Raiders are trading up to get Jaden Daniels. Antonio Pierce has a relationship with Jaden Daniels at Arizona State. That's one of his guys. There's smoke. He's saying Aiden O'Connell's our guy. Hey man, I love AOC. I hope he is your guy, but I also think that's smoke because if you can get Jaden Daniels and trade up, you're gonna do that. And then the Saints, Derek Carr was signed to a 4-year contract last year. Derek Carr had a bad season. Derek Carr is not the guy. You're not necessarily going to win a Super Bowl with him. But same thing with like Daniel Jones. Because you signed him to a 4-year contract, I don't think you're going straight into a quarterback in that first round because of that money that you gave up to a quarterback already. Go ahead and wait till that second round to do it. So there's the Saints are getting old on defense. There's other guys they can try to get within that. That's a top tier player where you're getting a tier down if you go McCarthy at 14 from the quarterback. So statistical and just wisdom wise, I think that's not the smart move because I think you can trade up in the second, like we saw Will Levis. He slipped. McCarthy will be that quarterback that slips. Someone sees in the second, oh snap, he's there in the second round, pick 2. I'm gonna go ahead and trade up and get him. So that's where I'm at with him.
Statement number 3. With Tez Walker struggling during the Senior Bowl week, Tez Walker is now a day 3 pick. SC, you're up.
Yeah, I agree. I think the NCAA really played their fiddle on Tez. They made him ineligible for some of the season, and then they said, "Oh, never mind, you could be eligible." And not getting that playing time all season made a huge difference in what he did. And that Senior Bowl, it was exposed, right? You're playing against top guys, and really, it was Drake May that really peppered him and really got him a lot of targets, and they worked well together, but. I think he is a day 3 pick. I think he could possibly be a steal because he's someone that I think is slept on, but I do think he is a day 3 pick.
Listen, outside of the, Charlie Baker and the whole garbage, listen, you can't be a guy that wants to be an alpha on the outside and between your neck to your waist get bodied by smaller DBs and can't fight out of it. And that was his problem outside of the dropsies that he had at the Senior Bowl. He just couldn't fight his way through smaller DBs. Now, get it. Quinyon Mitchell is a little bit of a pit bull, right? But he bagged him up, right? And it was just like he kept getting worked. And like in the end zone, when he was like starting to break away, if the guy was on his hip or was still somewhere close to him, Tez was fighting and wasn't winning the battle. And we had talked in agreement before. His hands kind of lost him some money in Mobile. In my opinion, I think he's a day 3 pick, but I think he's late day 3. I think he almost took himself out of a whole round. Like coming in, he had buzz to be a day 2 guy. I think, back end of day 2, I think now he's a day 3 guy. He's going to have to put a little bit of weight on him. Like it says UNC had him at 200 pounds and the Senior Bowl put that, cleared that smoke up real quick. So I think he's going to have to put a little bit of weight on him. He's going to test well at the combine. He's a good athlete and stuff, and that'll kind of maybe boost him up a little bit. And maybe someone will take a chance to go mid day 3. But I think I had questions. Those questions didn't get answered. If I have those questions, GMs have those questions. He's going to have to be able to answer those. Maybe in the pro day he can, right? But it's going to be what you saw recently in actual football, film. And that was him getting worked. So
Statement number 4. USC's quarterback Miller Moss will become a cemented first-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft and becomes the next Lincoln Riley quarterback in the NFL. Nino, you're up first.
The next, you say. Where's the first one, bro? Who's the first Lincoln Riley quarterback? He don't got none. Everyone that he's come into, right, has a transfer. Murray, Baker, Caleb, they all transfer in, right? And then Caleb this year at USC didn't have his best season, right? Under pressure, he was terrible. There was no adjustments. You would think the QB guru would be able to find a way to get Caleb to adjust and settle in the pocket and calm down. The kid had to put up 30 every game because the defense was bad. So, I know that has nothing to do with being a QB, but you had a 5-star locked and loaded this year to come in behind Caleb, and you pretty much told him, now you might want to hit the portal. So this dude left and went to Boise State. I don't know if Miller Moss is even going to be there past the portal window because they brought in Maivia and I just think his skill set's going to fit a little better. But like Kingsbury and Lincoln Riley are bum buddies, and they have both the benefit of having great relationships that got them a lot of money. I don't think that they are really that good. I think maybe they come up with a good offensive scheme, but it's to say that they are QB developers. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Everywhere they've gone to help the QB, he's progressively gotten worse. When they're there, those QBs get worse. Kyler Murray got worse. Caleb, when Kingsbury came over this year, got worse. Every time in the past 3 or 4 years that he touched any type of QB, they've gotten worse.
Yeah, my first 6 words to this question or this statement is no. Watch out for Jaden Maeva from UNLV. I just think this is a quarterback that threw for over 3,000 yards last year, over 63 or 63.5% completion. He did have 10 interceptions, so you want to clean that up with 17 touchdowns. But Miller Moss, I just don't think he's that answer. I just don't think. I mean, we saw what Caleb struggled with. I think Maeva will be a better prospect to look at. And really, for this statement, the key word there is cemented first round pick, right? Anyone could be a first round pick if they have a great season, do some things, but cemented, I don't think so. Like right now, he's not a first round for me. And USC's nice, but we also saw them struggle a lot. And Caleb looked great, but that defense wasn't there, and he isn't Caleb Williams, so that mentality is not that same level yet, I don't think. So this is something where if the defense struggles, we may see him struggle as well because he feels he doesn't have that support.
Chandler Morris threw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. But we've seen it. We've seen these guys have big games and then fall off the face of the earth. Chandler Morris, not even the starter for TCU anymore, right? Josh Hoover's now the starter or possible starter. So it's like Miller Moss had a great game, but that don't mean Miller Moss is going to be the guy next year, and that don't mean Miller Moss is anything. We'll have to wait and see. But cemented first-round pick is hard. I think Lincoln Riley's that kryptonite to QBs and not the guy that makes them better, to be totally honest.
Statement number 5. Oregon's wide receiver Evan Stewart will be a top 5 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. SC, you're up first.
Y'all know that Justin Timberlake gif where he's just, you know what I'm talking about? That's my answer right there. Yes, I think Evan Stewart, wide receiver 1, moving to Oregon was the best thing that happened with him. We saw what they did with all the wide receivers. Dan Lanning's there to stay. If you're afraid of your coach leaving, come to Oregon. I'm here to stay is what he was saying, So, yes, I think he is. Man, I don't want to say I live in Oregon, but I live in Oregon, so I'm all in. I think this is going to be a great season for them. They're moving to the Big Ten. Watch out, Ohio State. Watch out, Michigan. Sorry, Andy. Watch out, everyone in that Big Ten because they are here to play. They got the best wide receiver in the transfer portal, the wide receiver 1 of the 25 class. Dylan Gabriel is there. They are going to be electric. Evan Stewart's going to have like 1,300 yards this season. He's going to be a top 5 pick.
I love it. I'm a Ducks guy myself. I love Stewart. I've always said he's the wide receiver 1 in this class. But now I'm a little concerned because as I look deeper into this class, right, it's like top 5 pick. You got to have probably 2 DBs that are going to be in there, and Hunter and Will Johnson, right? So there's 2 DBs that could possibly go in the top 5. I mean, Will Campbell from LSU, right? Banks from Texas. Pierce from Tennessee put on a show, man, like in this boat. Those are guys that I'm thinking going to be up top. And then, you got McCullough from Oklahoma, and Luther Burden is kind of right there on Stewart's tail. It would have to be, for me, the dominoes would have to fall, for him to get into that 5. I mean, 1,300 yards and what, 17 touchdowns? Yeah, maybe that'll get him in the top 5. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that'll get him in the top 5. Having like a Neighbors Brian Thomas combined season, that would probably do it. I just think if you're at the top 5, you probably have more holes than just wide receiver 1. And those guys that I mentioned in front of him are kind of like team changes, right? You can literally anchor a defense around those guys, and McCullough can solidify a line. So it's like we'll have to wait and see how the chips fall. But if he's not top 5, he's sniffing and knocking at the door. You know what I mean? He ain't falling out of the top 10.
Bonus statement. USF's quarterback Byron Brown will be a Heisman finalist. Nino, you're up.
Well, I love Byron Brown, and I just think he has a very very good chance. But for right now, the three guys that I think are kind of right there without playing a snap are Ewers, Judkins, and Shador. And hot take, not hot take, but I think him, Brown, and Caden Salter will battle out for that last spot. I think they're similar games. They're in great offensive schemes. I think another year in the system. I know Brown was a freshman, Salter wasn't. Salter had that freshman year where he got thrown off the Tennessee team and then had to go to Liberty and rebound. But I just think both those guys are electric. And I think those are going to be two guys that could fight in for that last Heisman finalist spot.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a Heisman contender, top five. I don't know. I'm gonna throw out Evan Stewart there again, but also Nico at Tennessee, their quarterback. He could go out there and just be a very fluid with it and have a great season. Right now, he had a good season last year in Brown, but he's got to repeat that, right? I mean, I'm putting Shadir as that Heisman candidate. I mean, they went there and replenished their offensive line. I think he doesn't get hit as much. Led the league in sacks last year. Not going to be the same. So, as a top 5 finalist, no, but he's going to be in the top 10. He's going to be a contender for it, but I don't think he's necessarily top 5.
And then SC, you also had a bonus statement, right?
Yes, sir. I mean, we were talking about how, Evan Stewart, top 5 pick. I think next year, Oregon has at least 3 guys in the first round next year. You're looking at Dylan Gabriel, who right now is my QB2 of the class. You're looking at Evan Stewart. And then you're also looking at some of the defensive backs they brought in Kobe Savage from Kansas State and then Jabbar Muhammad from Washington. 2 dogs that they can definitely use on that defensive side, especially when you're going into the conference that has wide receiver U in Ohio State. These are some guys they said, hey, we need the defensive back help, that secondary help, and 2 guys that will definitely move up a notch because you're going to be going up against different competition, better competition at that wide receiver level. So I think Oregon has at least 3 first-round picks next year.
I can't really argue, and I feel like we're biased because we both like Ducks, but I think the DBs will cancel out each other. I think only one will be in the first round between Savage or Muhammad. I think Muhammad will probably be the guy. I think Muhammad's going to piggyback going from Washington to Oregon. You go into a better defensive scheme. Landon gets the best out of his guys. I think he can be on it. Like now that you have both of them, they can both sit on an island. You're going to see which one's more of the lockdown guy this year. So I'd go Muhammad. But yeah, I mean, 3-4, it's not out of the realm.
So those are our statement segments of the week. Now, the next segment that we are doing is the 2024 NFL rookies to think about. Nino, you're up first with yours.
This guy's climbed my board in wide receivers this class. I actually have him at 3. Most people probably have him at 6 or 7 in the class. I just like what everybody loved about Keon Coleman, basketball style. He can box him out, athletic. Brian Thomas Jr. makes Keon Coleman look like a little kid. All right. Like it's just his game is absolutely unique. 87 targets, 68 receptions. That's a 78.2 reception rate. Yeah, 1,100 yards, 17 touchdowns. That's more touchdowns than neighbors on the other side, right? He's your alpha on the outside. He's at X, 86.6% wide, lines up out wide. Got 8 out of 14. You just get me the ball down deep, I will dominate. That contested catch, got him. He had 8 touchdowns of 20-plus yards. Red zone monster, 6'4", 205. High school, right? 1,000-yard basketball player. Middle school, 1,000-yard basketball player. Like this kid has check the box, and you can check it twice on some of them. He has everything you want as that dude. He just, to me, it screams Kansas City, right? Outside, like just he's that alpha for the next 8 years from Mahomes. He can pass block, right? He's a good run blocker. Like 2.6 yards per route run. Like I said, check every single box. Physical, you ain't just gonna hand jab him at the line of scrimmage. You're gonna throw. You'll be in the backfield while he's going 3 yards in front of you. So Thomas to me is a guy. Sleep on him all you want, but I don't think GMs are gonna sleep on him. He could squiggle himself into the bottom of the first round.
Yeah, man. If he goes to Kansas City, man, I think we're looking at him as a top 6, maybe top 5 pick in rookie drafts. I mean, that's what everyone's wanting, right? Kansas City, get that wide receiver. If he goes into the first, I think people are gonna eat that up and be like, "Oh, this is a new wide receiver 1."
Yeah.
SC, who's your rookie to think about?
So mine's gonna be running back Marshawn Lloyd, man. He's really one that's grown on me. These running backs, I'm gonna be going back and forth with him right now. But right now, he is my RB2. I like what I see. He has the ability to catch. He has the movement to get through the tackles, but also to get on the outside. I do see better blocking from him, but I think he's someone that the running backs are going to slide in this draft. You're gonna get some running backs in the late second. You're gonna there's gonna be a run in the early second. You're gonna get some running backs in the late second of your rookie drafts, and then that's gonna be the target you want. And I think Marshawn Lloyd is gonna be the best of that bunch. So I'm all in on him, and I think he's someone that can definitely have a boom year because he gets the opportunity. But then guess what? Go ahead and sell him high. But I'm definitely in on him right now.
The Marshawn Lloyd, we've got to book him an appointment at LensCrafters. Okay, make sure we get that eye patch off the pirate there, because there's sometimes a lane you can drive a bus through. My man don't see it. My man runs in the back of people. I'm gonna go with everything that people want Marshawn Lloyd to be. Give me all Ray Davis, because I think Ray Davis is going to be everything that people want Marshawn Lloyd to be. That guy actually has some vision. Doesn't need to go to LensCrafters or get LASIK. That's my problem with Lloyd and the injury concerns. Like, is he going to be able to hold up longevity? But I mean, he can pass pro like a MFer. He can catch the ball. He's got those skills to him. But the lane is in a video game. They don't line up in neon saying hit this hole. He's got to be able to do it at the next level on his own. So we'll have to see.
And then SC, if I'm in an IDP league, who should I be thinking about?
This is gonna be Nino's gonna like this pick too. It's one of our dogs, and that's UTEP linebacker Tyrus Knight. Again, we're gonna go back to don't scout the helmet, scout the player. This guy is everything you want in a Mike linebacker. He's a leader. He's vocal. He knows how to tackle, and I'm not just saying that because he gets the tackles. I mean, he has over 100 plus tackles, over 140, I think, this year.
Yeah.
But he has the ability to know how to tackle correctly. He wraps up accordingly. He's not getting stupid penalties by going straight in with your helmet. He's a smart player, and he did that every year he was at UTEP. He got better every year. He's effective. He's vocal. He is a leader on defense, and he's going to be a guy that, because of the helmet, he may slide into that day 3 and people are going to sleep on him. But guess what? I'm going to shout out Ivan Pace last year. Cincinnati, fantastic linebacker. As soon as he went undrafted, I had to go over the draft board multiple times to be like, Ivan Pace didn't get drafted. What the hell's going on here? But guess what? He was one of your top IDP rookies this year because he's a dog. Tyrus Knight, if he does go undrafted, trust me, do not sleep on him. He's going to be effective. He's going to work his way up that practice squad and be a dominant defender this year.
Three down linebacker. Can play all over the field, right? I've said it multiple times on different podcasts. This dude's gone. I've seen him go first and second down after the QB, disrupt plays. Coach will tell him to drop back in coverage. He's the reason why the pass gets broken up or isn't even able to be thrown in that direction. Got it out the mud, man. JUCO player, went to UTEP, 100 tackles, 100 tackles, 100 tackles, but it's increased every year. The tackles for loss have increased. The PBUs have increased. He's got good hands. The Energizer Bunny, the motor keeps on going. Give me all night.
So those are some rookies to think about. Now, rookies' value, they fluctuate daily. And that leads us to our next segment, the stock exchange. Nino, who's your guy?
Listen, I go by things that happen, news that comes by in the wind. And when I saw that Bush Hamden had left Boise State and was going to be the new OC in Kentucky, Austin Genty and all of that scheme and production popped right into my head. And Chip Traham, who left Ohio State in the portal, has now going to be RB1, replacing Ray Davis for Kentucky. He had 85 carries, close to 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He only had, I think it was like 10 receptions, but I believe you're going to see a huge increase in production out of Chip in this offensive scheme. Listen, 214.9 rush yards per game they had. They were 6th in the nation. They finished 26th overall offensively. And they're bringing in a new QB, right? And Vandegrift from Georgia. Like, get him comfortable. Beginning of the year, what are you going to do? Pound that rock. Gimme Chip Traham in the stock exchange. We going up. Go buy him if you can.
I think you can, right? Because people aren't aware about all this situation that's going on, right? This is the sleep mode for the people that aren't like us that are, talking about these rookies already, right? So go get him while you can because I agree with you. I think this is gonna be a great year for him, and we saw what Ray Davis was able to do last year. They also lost Devin Leary, right? He went
Right?
to the pros, right? Yeah, he's
They're
going
trying to go
pro.
to the pros. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, you have something new where they're gonna try to run that ball, and Chip's gonna be that guy. So I love that.
Now, SC, who's your stock exchange guy?
It's ironic because he mentioned Boise State, so I'm gonna go to Boise State and I'm gonna say the quarterback Malachi Nelson. Y'all hit it on the money earlier. 5-star prospect at USC. Coach said, "Hey man, we're going with this other guy." He said, "All right, I'm leaving." Well, go ahead and get him because his stock's going down because of the school again scouting the helmets. Don't do that. He's still gonna be efficient. His competition is getting less, so now go get him because what I see is gonna happen is Malachi Nelson's gonna go out there and ball. 5-star prospect. He's gonna go out there and do his thing. He was arguably to a lot of people QB1 of that 2026 class.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna go out there and ball at Boise State, and guess what? Then he's gonna transfer up to a D1. You're gonna look at him going to maybe an Oklahoma, maybe a Bama, something just that's better after this phenomenal season because he's going to get the playing time he deserves, and then his stock's going to rise even further. So, like the stock exchange, man, you buy the dips, right? You wait, you hold for it to go, and then you sell again. His value was all the way up here, and Andy, me and you have had conversations about it was at the top. You couldn't acquire Malachi Nelson. Now you can go get him for less than what you're even trying to sell him for, getting offers for. But guess what? That value is going to go back up because he's going to have that great season. He's a great quarterback. He can throw on the dime. He knows how to use his precision. He knows how to escape that pressure. I'm in on all in on Malachi Nelson. If you can get him, because people forgot the name, go ahead and go get him.
Malachi Nelson is the Bitcoin of future phenoms.
There you go. God, chop that up. That's a great one.
Absolutely fantastic episode, guys. Now, SC, where can people find you on X? What are you currently working on? And what you got brewing up?
Yeah, man. So you can find me on X at the PPR. So currently I'm with the Fantasy Football Universe. Me and 3 other guys have been knocking out these rookie profiles, 150 coming before the draft. So go and see some of our articles on there, some of our videos. That's a big one. Work with RPO doing some things. And then my man Nino at CFB Nation, we know what's coming, but March 5th, that's all I'll say. March 5th, a new show's coming.
And then Nino, where can people find you on X? And what are you currently working on? And what you got brewing up?
You can find me at the CFB Nation. I got my hand in a bunch of different bags over there. Dynasty Degens and my guy Nerd Boy. We be doing breaking down where these guys are liking the rookie class and where you draft them in super flex leagues right now. So that's what we're working on. Obviously here at the League Winners, I got this pod here I like doing with you guys, and I got some articles coming. Not as fast as Andy does, but I do have some articles coming down the pipeline. I feel like he's got a third arm and it's robotic the way he pumps out these articles. So kudos to him. But I got one on Kansas. Does Kansas have the best DB group in the Big 12? Because there's 2 scary guys out there, and I'm going to write about these guys. I think you're going to love them. And then UNLV, everybody knows about the coaches and Ricky White, but there's a running back out of there that you need to know more about who could be a stud in this year coming. So CFB Nation, the League Winners, Dynasty Degens, that you can catch me.
Andy typed an article right now as we had this show. That's how he's doing it.
That's why this was the easiest show I've ever done. I was able to get an article done. All right, guys. This was a fantastic episode. Love talking ball with you guys. Now, we'll be back next week. But before we go, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, comment, and also subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple, give us a rate and review. Now, we'll see you next time on Future Phenoms.